A pleasant day everyone. This is a Group 3 presentation entitled Homonhon Island, Eastern Samar. Some people in Homonhon Island and Samar also claim that Magellan and his fellow sailors must have some kind of religious festivity shortly after they landed on the island. Magellan's group had a terrible experience after they landed in Guam, which they called Islas de los Ladrones, the island of thieves. So, according to the group supporting the first mast in Homonhon, Magellan and his sailors had a mass in the island to thank God to their safe trip from Guam and the vast of Pacific Ocean. Islas de los Ladrones, also known as Guam.
Pigafetta did not exactly say that it was their first Mass. He only reported that a Mass was celebrated on Easter Sunday in Maswa Island. Attorney Mendiola concluded in his paper that the Mass was on Homonhon Island on the 19th day of March 1521, was the first one celebrated in the Philippines, not one at Limasawa or Maswa on the 31st of the month. Any passage or statement to the contrary in our history books would be unsustainable under present historiography.
The first mass was not held in Limasawa, Homonhon Island, the correct site of the first mass.
Notwithstanding these debates, when the first Mass was celebrated, the fact remains that it was in Homonhon that Magellan first landed, and today we commemorate that event and celebrate its greater significance. The historian Agoncillo writes that it was through this trip that Europeans first learned and of the existence of the Philippines. It also proved that the earth was round. It established the vastness of the Pacific Ocean. It proved that the East Indies could be reached by crossing the Pacific, and finally, it showed that the Americas was really a land mass entirely separate from Asia.
The expedition of Ferdinand Magellan.
While Magellan discovered the existence of the Philippines, for me, the greater significance of Magellan's arrival in Homonhon was it shown the world that we in Samar already had a society, a culture of our own. Pagapeta wrote that their senior was an old man who was painted. He wore 2 gold earrings in their ears and the other many gold armlets on their arms and kerchiefs about their heads. They have very black hair that falls to the waist and use daggers, knives, and spear ornamented with gold, large shields, fascines, javelins, and fishing nets that resemble Rizali, and their boats are like ours.
Later on, Jesuit missionaries who come and settled our island will document this culture. Our society then was structured according to the social causes which dictated not only the behavior of men and women but also the manner of dressing from head to toe, from cradle to their graves. Our author was Attorney Romualdo Menjola in 1997 during our celebration of Summer Day. Attorney Romualdo Menjola asks us, was Homonhon the site of the first Mass in the Philippines? The document tells us that on March 17 was still anchored. Magellan was visited by several canoes or prows carrying the chief of Sulan named Inaroyan, Limbas, Kukad, Layong, Kalipay, Batyaw, Kapuling, and their datus Keras. They boarded the chief of the Magellan, and Magellan explained to them through his interpreter Enrique that their king of Spain sent them to spread the faith of Greece and convert them to the true religion. They also listened to as Magellan told them of their encounter at the land of the Landraes. Carascaras replied that chief of the island was named Tilikmatak and was not a friend of theirs, and invite Magellan ashore and accept his hospitality.
They also agreed to would celebrate a treaty of friendship and return to the shore. The next day was stormy and nothing was done until the 19th of March, when most of the Spaniards disembarked, leaving only enough men to guard the vessels. Mass was celebrated, and after a ceremony, a tall cross was raised near the shore. Garas-Garas, Inarayon, and the other entered into a treaty of friendship with Don Hernando Magallanes, representing His Majesty, which was drawn up by Leon Ispilita. If we review Pigafetta's account, Pigafetta wrote, "Early on the morning of Sunday, the last of March, and Easter Sunday, the Captain General sent the priest with some men to prepare the place where Mass was to be said. When the hour for Mass arrived, we landed with 50 men without our body armored, but carrying our other arms and dressed in our best clothes." Pigafetta did not exactly say that it was their first Mass. He only reported that Mass was celebrated on the Easter Sunday. Attorney Mendiola concludes in his paper that the Mass on Homonhon Island on the 19th day of March 1521 was the first one celebrated in the Philippines, not one at Limasawa or Mazawa on the 31st of the month. Notwithstanding these debates when the first Mass was celebrated, the fact remained that it was in Homonhon that Magellan first landed. And today, we commemorate that event and celebrate its greater significance.